Hey guys, today is April 15th, 2022, and as promised, I'll be talking about my eBay business and what I learned in the 2.5 years I've been doing it. So, about 2.5 years ago, um, I quit my part time job um, and I started selling on eBay. And initially, I started selling clothing because I used to work in the fashion industry and I knew a lot about clothes. And I think I spent almost $200, and it was basically a disaster. I think I listed maybe 60 items, and it was a lot of work. And then one day, I was watching a YouTube video on book selling from Weezy Reseller, and basically I stumbled onto that. But even before then, I was selling books, but I didn't know what I was doing, and I just bought books that I thought were like profitable or that I liked. And I thought, I just didn't know. Like I was just blindly just doing what I thought was right. And I didn't know that there was a more efficient way. So in today's video, I'm just going to talk about stuff that most people don't talk about. And um, as some of you guys probably know, I run a martial arts school and I basically spent almost 27 years doing martial art. And so a lot of my philosophy or the way I navigate through life, I use a lot of Zen teaching and strategies from different martial artists. And one of the martial artists I use a lot, his name is Miyamoto Masashi, and his nickname is called the Sword Saint because he had 70 duels to the death. And just before he died, he wrote he wrote a book, but he also wrote 20 I think 22 rules to live by, and basically it's called Kodo. And basically he talks about like how to navigate life and stuff. And I basically it resonate with me a lot, and so I use a lot of his teaching, and I use it to figure out how to navigate life and how to get where I want to go. Okay, so here's the number one takeaway that I want everyone to have. Stop looking for unicorn. Okay, and what I mean is start always trying to find that one thing that is going to make you a lot of money. Instead, focus on what you can find consistently and focus on if you can um, find it consistently and if you can sell it consistently. Now, what is consistent to one person may be inconsistent with another. So what you have to do is you have to spread out um, your loss, um, your um, your distribution point. Okay, and so what I mean is this. My camera just stopped here. I want to restart, and my mirroring function just went away. So what I mean is, um, let's just say you have 100 items. Okay, 100 items, and out of 100 items, you might have 20% that will sell within, let's just say, 1 month. And then you might have 80% that might sell within 1 year, let's just say 1 year. And then you might have 10%. So let's do 10% here, 10%. Let's just say you have 10% that might sell within 2 years, and you might have 10 or 5% that might sell within 5 years. Okay, so obviously my math is incorrect here, but I'm just teaching you that you got to think of distribution points and how things are spread out. Okay, so once again, you got to look at things that happen in nature. Okay, so you have the bell curve here. And another thing I want to talk to you guys about is called the Peretti principle, or the golden mean. Okay, or the 20/80. So 20% of what you do will create 80% of your wealth. 20% of what you do will be the driver. Okay, and your goal is to constantly make your 20% more and more efficient, more and more profitable, etc. Okay, so here's the bell curve. Okay, and that it is. Okay, so that's the biggest problem I see with a lot of resellers, that they're constantly trying to look for that unicorn. Stop looking for the unicorn. Instead, focus on a process. And what I mean by process is this. Do you have a consistent way of sourcing? Okay. Do you have somewhere to go on a weekly or daily basis? Okay. Now let's just say you don't want to go out weekly. Then is there a way to buy a large volume so that it keeps you busy for that month or that year? Okay. And so I was very lucky. I was able to buy 12 Gaylords of books. So a Gaylords of books. Okay. And so a Gaylord is basically a large cardboard container that sits on top of a pallet. Okay. And a typical Gaylord holds about 800 books to 1,000. Okay. Now, your business model doesn't have to be book. It can be shoes. It can be whatever. Now, the secret, I wouldn't say secret, but the secret is the ability to process your inventory and sell it at a margin. Okay. And you have to sell it at a significant margin unless you're selling really high-end items. So, for example, let's just say you're selling a $500 Rolex watch. Then your margin might be only 10%. No, let's just say 20%. Okay, so that means you make $100. Okay, but imagine you sell 20 watches a week. Okay, so that's a significant sum. Now, in my case, I bought these books. I'm not going to review the price, but I got it for like really cheap. And out of the 800 books, okay, out of the 800 books, I'll write over here. Out of the 800 bucks, about I say about 7% I can sell for around $25. Okay, about 2% I can sell about $50, and about 1% I can sell around $70. Now the majority of them, literally the majority of them, the 90% of them, about 70% of it is crap. What I mean by crap is that it's not worth my time, it's not worth my investment, like my energy, you know what I mean? So I will go back to this 70% in a few minutes. So now I'm stuck with around 20%. So what I do is I take that 20% and I try to list it or try to process it as quick as I can and try to churn and get money out of it. Now, a lot of people will just ignore this, which is fine, but I feel like if you're ignoring it, you're not learning how to be very resourceful and how to basically take advantage of the resources that you have, you know, like what's given to you. Okay, so let's go back. I know I'm rambling, but a lot of people are asking for this video from me. Focus on the process versus the event. Okay, so I run an MMA gym, and a lot of guys who are not diligent, or a lot of guys who have a lot of egos, they only care about the fight, getting into a ring or fighting, bragging to their friend that they're an MMA fighter or whatever. The people who are really humble focus on the process. Okay, so let's break down the process for like a reseller. So what is a process? Well, you have to ship your book. You have to store your inventory. You have to source it. You have to make sure that you price correctly. And you got to make sure that you deliver great customer service. Okay. And what else? And you got to repeat the cycle over and over again. Okay. So a lot of times people are always focusing on the source. Okay. That's a big mistake. Okay, look at the process. So my suggestion is break down what is involved in running a business and how do you go about making it efficient, making it profitable. Okay, so for me, for example, I have a table set up where I have two LED lamp. I have a foot pedal to take pictures, so I don't have to use my hand to hit the camera. I have a way to transfer the photo to Google Drive. So for any books that I have to sell that I have to take photos of, I just do it very efficiently. So I can bang out, I can take photos in very detail and do a listing in about, let's just say it's $100 book. I'll spend a little bit more time. It'll take me about 5 minutes. Okay, and then let's just say a $25 book. It might take me 2 minutes. And then books that are like, I'm going to give a little bit of a hint. You know that 90-80% duds? A lot of booksellers will ignore. I actually try to make money off that. Out of the 80%, I try to salvage about 20% of that. And I would try to sell them for around $3 net profit. And what I do is I develop a way where I'm able to list a book in about 60 seconds. Now, 60 seconds, $3 net a profit. Okay, doesn't seem like a lot of money, but if you think about it, right? Let's just say you spend 3 hours a day. So let's just say 3 hours. Okay, I don't know. That's 3,600 seconds. So let's just say you can do 200 books an hour. Let's just say you can do 60 books an hour. 60 books times $3. That's a potential of $180 an hour you're making. Okay, now my math may be wrong. I'm more focused on like just giving the ideas out. Now, the other thing that you need to work on is building a large inventory. Now think of going to Walmart, okay? The reason why Walmart is so successful is their inventory is so extensive. A typical Walmart will have over $1 million, a million items in the store, okay? So your goal is to have to build a large inventory, okay? Now, the bigger the inventory, the more consistent your revenue is. But how do you know? But your goal is also to pick up things that people want to buy. Now, if you have a good paying job and you don't have to rely this on your main source of income, you're less stressed about it because it takes time to build up the inventory. Okay. Now, the larger the profit margin, the harder it is to get those books or that inventory. Okay, so for example, books that I make $3 profit on, plentiful. Like I got thousands and thousands of those. Okay, and then books that I could make $100 on, I might, in a typical Gaylord, I might find 2 or 3. Okay, that's about it. So you got to look at once again, the Pareto principle. Right, this little graph here. I'll draw it again. Man, I'm wasting a lot of paper. So you need to think about the bulk of your business. Okay, now some people are very greedy. They only want to focus on the really high-end stuff right here. Okay, now that's fine if you have lots of money and you don't need to generate like a large revenue from it, or if you're really lucky, you can find the sources. But you got to think of your business model as like this. Okay, so about 80% of my business, I'm selling books at about $5 profit. About 10% of my business, I'm selling books at maybe $70 to $100, sometime more. Okay, I mean, I sold books to $300, and then I might have a few books that I might sell for around 10 to $70, but it might take me 5 years to flip. Okay, so we're looking at about a 1-year cycle here. All right, so this might help you guys a lot. So think about process versus event. So when I first started, I was on a lot of eBay group, and I see a lot of questions being asked, and people were asking the wrong questions. Okay, people are always asking for Bolo. Now the problem with Bolo is that it's a one-off. It's like when I teach martial art, especially newbies or people who are lazy, they always ask me what's the best technique, or oh, I saw this guy doing this. I want to learn how to do a jumping spinning back kick or whatever, right? Instead of focusing on the fundamentals, you need data points, okay? And so for me, I run an MMA school. When I train amateur guys to fight, I watch a lot of amateur fighting videos. I don't watch like the pro, because when the amateurs fight across the board, they all make these same mistakes. And so what I do is I reverse engineer it and I try to figure out why they make these mistakes and how I can train my fighters not to make these mistakes and how to capitalize on it. So what you need to do is you need to find a business where you can have access to lots of data. Okay, so in my case, I stumbled onto the book business, and when I stumbled onto it, I realized that was the right business for me because I use several apps, but one of the apps I use have connection to the Amazon database. Now, Amazon is the largest e-commerce platform in North America, okay? And it's 4 times, it might be even 5 times bigger than eBay. So a lot of people talk about looking up sales comp on eBay, so comp, okay? But the problem with that is that it's 1/5 of Amazon database. So the data you're getting is inaccurate, okay? So what I do is I don't sell on Amazon because there's already too much competition, but I take the data from Amazon, and then from there, with a little bit of practice, after a while, you get really good at looking at the data from Amazon, and you know how to massage it to sell back on eBay. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you have to use Amazon. I'm saying you need a place to look at data. Okay. It can be like anything. Okay. It can be like join a Reddit group and look at all the latest trends on toys or comic book, and maybe input the data into an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. So a lot of times people don't have data. Okay. Or their data is insufficient. So when I train people to fight, I look at data points. So think of like dots, okay, on a graph. Okay, and your goal is to plot a line and find, and this is how you should be executing this graph right here. Okay, so you ignore all the other stuff. Now, once in a while, you have to pay attention to it, but your goal is to find that graph. This is like I forget, basic 9th grade math. You know, you got to find the slope. Okay, you got to find that formula. Okay, the XY axis. So hopefully that helps. So let's go back to this page here. You want to be successful in your online business? Shipping, super important. I struggle with that. I'm still struggling with that. As my business grow, I'm constantly revamping my shipping station. You need a scale. You need a label printer. Okay, thermal label printer. You need a dedicated laptop that is just used for printing, nothing else. What else? You need all your shipping supplies. You need to be able to get shipping supply at a really good price. So I'm constantly trying to make my own or constantly find places to grab things for free. Okay, storage. When I first had my books, I had 100 books. Okay, not a problem. I could find them. But I started not able to find my books when I started having 300 books. Okay, now my store is up to 3,500 books. And my goal is to get up to 7,000, hopefully in 1 year's time. Okay. And so I had to create my own inventory system. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to give away how I do it, but it's not that hard. I'll tell you the secret. Look up how Amazon does it. Okay. How Amazon does it. Okay. Sourcing. Find a place or multiple places where you can go to consistently. Okay. And then make it a habit to go visit those places consistently. Okay. After a while, you get so good at it. It's like you're a chipmunk and you go and you look for nuts and you know exactly where to go. You know exactly, what to go first and where to find all the good stuff. Okay. Price, super important. don't get greedy. A lot of people get really greedy. Think of the big picture. Okay. So for me, I price it really competitively because my margin is so good. My margin is anywhere from 600% to almost 1500%. Okay. So I'm not gonna worry if I don't make the extra 50 cents. Okay. If I sell a book for $200, I don't care if I sell the book for 150. Okay, because I bought the book for $1. My goal is to take this cash and reinvest it in my business to make the snowball even bigger. Okay, so this is really important. Look at the big picture. Think about the snowball effect. Okay, think about cash flow. Now, if you have a job or you have a good paying job, whatever, cash flow is not a big issue. For me, cash flow is a huge issue because I run an MMA gym and COVID basically shut down my MMA gym. So this is my only source of income. I'm not perfect at it. I'm still struggling financially, but I honestly believe I'm heading into the right direction because um, my process is efficient. My sourcing is correct. I'm building all these relationships with different people. Okay, what else? Customer service. Okay, really, really important to nail down your customer service. Have a template on how to reply to people. Have a template on how to send out offers. Okay, learn to be empathetic to a customer. Okay, treat every customer problem as an issue, as a learning experience. Because every time you do it, you get better at it. I mean, I was able to convince people to not leave me a negative review. I was able to convince people not to send me a book that I sold for $20 because I messed up on the title. All right. But every time I do it, I also make sure that they're getting their money's worth. I also try to be very empathetic. I never try to rip people off. I always try to give the best value and beyond that. Because my goal is to build a business that's sustainable and long term. Okay. So always think long term. Okay. I have to go ship up my books really quick. If you like this video, please thumbs up. Please message me. I'm just rambling, so not everything I say is like well thought out, precise, but it's things in my mind. I just want to touch on one really important point. Okay, now you have all these platforms like Mercari, Poshmark, Etsy, and stuff, right? Okay, I'm gonna tell this story. I might offend some people, but there's an author. His name is Malcolm Gladwell. Okay, Gladwell. And he wrote several books. He wrote Blink, Outlier, David and Goliath, etc. Right? Very interesting. Some people accuse him of taking um, an, antidote and then make it into like philosophical. Anyways, I found this one story very interesting. He analyzed the migrant workers, people who immigrate to America from Latin America, Mexico, etc. Right? And they came to America about 50, 60 years ago. And a lot of these people worked on a farm, okay, 60 years ago, maybe 70 years ago, okay? And they started working on a farm and they learned how to pick berries, maybe strawberries or apple. Then, when strawberry or apple season's over, they learn how to pick raspberry, you know, potatoes, etc., right? So all they learn how to do is pick different fruit, okay? I'm going to get somewhere with this story. Then he analyzed these immigrants that came from Russia. Okay, now these guys were haberdashery. They learned how to make. They were in the clothing business. Okay, so they came to America super poor. Same thing, 60, 70 years ago. And at first, they took scrap fabric, like remnant fabric, and they made aprons in their kitchen. Then they took, with the little money they made, they reinvested, and then they went from making aprons to dress. From dress to getting their dress into a retail store. From getting their dress into a retail store into creating their own store. From creating their own store to buying a fabric plant, etc. Okay, now obviously I'm like telling the story really quick, but I want to get to a point. The first group of people, all they did was stay horizontal. In other words, all they did was took their time in learning how to pick different fruit. They never saw the process from the beginning, which is like picking an apple, into canning it, into distributing it, into getting into the store, maybe creating a brand for that applesauce, etc. The second group of migrant worker built their business vertically. Okay, in the beginning, they took fabric and they built an apron. Then they built a dress. Then they learned how to build a fashion collection. Then they got it into the store. Then they created a brand. Then they bought fabric manufacturers or fabric companies so that they can get fabric at a wholesale price. And it went on and on and on, right? And so what happened was the first group of migrant workers, their children kind of didn't go as far in the career ladder as the second group because the second group, their children was able to see how their parents thought in a very vertical format. Okay, like so Miyamoto Masashi and even Jordan Peterson talk about this. He said you got to be able to see things in high resolution. So Miyamoto Masashi talks about um, seeing things, seeing close things as if they're far away, and seeing things that are far away as if they're close. Okay? Now, nothing wrong with trying to sell your clothes, books, toys, whatever on every single platform that comes out. Okay? But in a way, you're like the first group of migrant worker or immigrants. All you did was learn how to pick different type of fruits or vegetation. You have not learned to see business at a very high level. Nothing wrong with that. This is fine. If you're making a lot of money in it, you stumble onto something amazing. But if you're not making a lot of money, your goal is to find a wedge or something that will help you build your craft, the way you think about the world, the way you think about business in a very vertical format. So I have to go ship things out really quick. But for me, I got my books for really cheap. Like literally, I'm not going to disclose the price, but dirt cheap. And I'm trying to use the 10,000 books I have and then some because I'm constantly getting more. And I'm trying to create a business model. I'm trying to create apps. I'm trying to create different ways, but I'm using the books as a lever, as a wedge to get me into other places. Okay. So, anyways, I got more things I want to talk about, but let's quickly review bell curve. Okay. The more you list, the better, but try to list as many good quality items as you can. Try to think of things in a bell curve. You cannot always get gems, but you cannot always get dirt. You know, focus here. This is bonus. Okay, too often people are trying to fixate on this. Break down your business. Try to make everything into a process. That way it's dummy proof. You don't have to think about it. You know how your business is dummy proof? If you can train someone at minimum wage, okay? In other words, you spend a day training them and you walk away, maybe come back a couple of days later, fix their mistake a couple of days later, okay? If you can train someone at minimum wage, you got it, okay? Don't make your business overly complicated. 80-20, 80-20, okay? The 80-20 rule. Constantly try to make your 80-20 more and more efficient. Okay, so in the beginning, my 80-20 wasn't very good, but it got better and better. Okay, so no, in other words, this is my pie. Okay, then my pie got bigger. Still 80-20. My pie got bigger. Okay, still 80-20. Okay, but what happened? This is the 20% here. But what happens, it gets more and more complicated. Um, it's 30 minutes. I know it's super long. If you like this video, comment and whatever. I'll talk about scaling stuff. Now, granted, I've only been doing this for 2.5 years. There's still so much things I have to learn still. But let's quickly review also. You need data points, okay? Try to find a business where you can analyze data. Or try to find a business where you have access to data. And then how you make money is the ability to analyze data and see things that no one else is seeing. And then from there, you can build a business. Okay, so a lot of times people are not looking at data, okay? Or the data is right in front of you, but you're not using it, okay? Okay, anyways, guys, I apologize for the long video. I hope you guys like it, and I might shoot more. Please follow me on YouTube, on Instagram, etc.